I grew up in South Jersey and was raised in a Lutheran home, and in accordance with the Lutheran faith. And Lent was a big deal in my home, in my grandmother's home in Runnymede, and of course I grew up in Summerdale. And last Tuesday I was reminded that my mom would be making small donuts for us to go door to door and hand out to our neighbors. This was a German tradition, and it was called Fastnachts. And these little donuts called Fastnachts were handed out door to door, as I said, on Shrove Tuesday. And Shrove Tuesday is based upon a time of confession. And historically, it was a day before Ash Wednesday, and it was a rather solemn day of preparation for this Penitent season of Lent. And many Christians took part in the sacrament of confession that day. And it became known as Shrove Tuesday. And Shrove is the past tense of shrive, and that means confession, or confession and the forgiveness of sin. So my intention is for each Tuesday leading up to Easter, we're going to cover the span of events from Palm Sunday until Easter Sunday. And each day I'll guide you and lead you through scriptures. And Easter says of Jesus, he meant it. He meant to lay down his life for you. And as surely as he has taken it up again, he knows and loves you. And that's the theme of this, that he meant it. So let's look at some Palm Sunday, and we're going to look at Luke, and he recorded it like this. Then they brought the colt to Jesus, and they threw their cloaks on the colt, and they put Jesus on it. And he went along, and people spread their cloaks on the road. And when he came up near the place where the road goes down to the Mount of Olives, the whole crowd of disciples began joyfully to praise God with loud voices for all the miracles they had seen. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest. Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to Jesus, "Jesus, rebuke your neighbors." And I tell you, he replied, if they keep quiet, even the stones will cry out. As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over and said, if you had only known this day what would bring you peace. But now know it is hidden from your eyes. The days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you and hem you in from every side. They will dash you to the ground, you and your children within these walls. They will not leave one stone on another, because you did not recognize the time of God's coming to you. When Jesus rode into Jerusalem, he was perched on a small donkey, or a colt, and it was the first time since raising Lazarus from the dead that he had shown his face in this city. The story of Lazarus' resurrection had circulated that so many had regarded Jesus as a celebrity, as somebody you wanted to catch a glimpse of, somebody you wanted to, if you could touch him, you could hang out with him. And they went out to meet him and received him like a king, because they had heard he had done this. And Jesus said of Lazarus' death it would end in the faith of many, and in the glory of God, that the Son of God would be glorified through it. But the glory he had in mind was even more glorious than the triumphal entry into Jerusalem. In fact, he was referring to the glory these people gave him at all. He was more addressing that the resurrection would steal the resolve of the leaders to hand Jesus over to death, that he would embrace a death that he would conquer. That was the glory he meant. And as he rode in Jerusalem, the people cried, your king is coming. They praised the victory over Lazarus' death, but the irony was, he wasn't coming to claim the crown on account of Lazarus' death or his resurrection, but on account of his own. Next week, we're going to look and cover how the church is to be known as a house of prayer and never a den of thieves. I thank you for listening, and I will see you next week, and blessings, and have a great week.